morning, everyone. Great to see you all here. The brave ones coming into their masks. We're so happy to be back open again. We've missed your beautiful souls and faces. So I'm just going to ask you to come in the presence of this room, and we're going to sing this song together. They say to sing is to pray twice, and we're calling Spirit. Spirit's always right in the midst of us, but it's really us tuning into that which is already a part of our eternal being. So you can join me, and you all know these words. We don't have good PowerPoints today. We're having a computer glitch today. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. And I'm grateful for you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. Those of you who are joining us right here in this very room, and those of you who are watching us on live stream, we're always happy to have you and join us and enjoy a little time on a Sunday together. So I'd like to see, is anyone here at Unity of Boulder for the first time? Not today. Oh, back here, ushers, keep your hand up and our ushers are going to bring you a welcome gift. Thanks for joining us today. I'm glad you came on in. So, we know here that we've been a little relaxed about enforcing mask rules. We can't do that anymore. We have to ask everyone. I see all masks here today. We have to ask everyone in person to wear a mask. We understand, we're sympathetic to it, it's not fun. I don't love it. I don't like it that restaurants are allowed to have you take your mask off when you sit, and it specifically says in the Boulder County mandate that churches, religious centers, and houses of worship don't get that same thing. But we're not the ones to talk to about that. That needs to be taken care of in a different building, but we do have to ask that you wear a mask. If the idea of wearing a mask just doesn't work for you for whatever reason, we do offer a wonderfully filmed live stream. We've got a great production crew that puts it all together, and our sound guy makes it sound wonderful. But I mean, we do want everyone here in person, but we understand if the mask thing is just too much, we just have to ask you to wear them here. It's the Boulder County mandate, and it is what it is. So, that being said, let's get on to something a little happier. Of an upcoming event. We were supposed to have a homeopathic and first aid medicine workshop today following the service, but due to circumstances outside our control, we had to push it back 2 weeks, and it's now going to be January 30th from 1 to 3. That's 2 Sundays from now. It'll be right over here in Fellowship Hall. It's taught by Wendy Littlepage, who is a certified classical homeopath. She's been teaching this stuff for quite a few years. She'll start out by giving an overview of the history and the main principles of homeopathy, and then get into teaching actual ideas and tips and tricks, the things you can do at home that are natural healing remedies that work and are effective. That's $35. You can sign up for it in the bookstore or online, so let us know if you're interested in that. And now I'd like to welcome today's musical guest back to our stage, Rebecca Abraxas. Thank you.
Chickadaya, ooh chickadaya, ooh chickadaya, ooh chickadaya. Who am I? Who am I? Who's breathing? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who's singing? Who am I? Ooh chickadaya, 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 ooh chickadaya. Who am I? Who am I? Who's breathing? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who's singing? Who am I? Who walks this curious road? am I?
It's really beautiful. Connect with that heartbeat, that spiritual Mother Earth heartbeat. I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. My talk title today is Spirit and You. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Syntysche Groverland. I'm the spiritual leader here, and I share this platform with Jack Groverland, my father, who's the minister emeritus. And as many of you know, he hasn't been around here for a few weeks because he's dealing with some after effects of COVID. Our whole family got it right after Christmas, and it was intense for most of us, but at his age, it really has taken a toll on his, like, the fatigue level. So I wanted to put all these candles up here so we could just kind of create a prayer vigil for him to just really get that life force back. You know, when we pray with 3 or more, we're bringing, and don't go into the fear of it. He's fine. He's going to heal. I'm not worried about that. I want a full healing. You know, this is an athlete. This is a person that runs every day. I want to see the full healing, and I know we can see that for him today. So let's hold him in that light. And he's not in the hospital. He's at home. He's comfortable. We're just going to get that full, energy back. And if any of you had this COVID, I'm also pretty, still limited about what I can do. I feel pretty weak. It's strange. It does do that. So it takes some time. We just have to be patient with our bodies, and we know we're all going to get back into that big breath and that run that we can do, and we just feel like we keep going. That's where I want to get to myself. So I'm going to be quoting someone a few times in this sermon from a workshop that I've been taking for the last, since the beginning of the new year. Sometimes I have to find a way to fill my glass, so I have something to give here. And it's a workshop that's being given by a man named Tuttle. He has a wonderful email he sends out from the universe to everyone every day, but he had a manifestation workshop that was 21 days long. We're still in the middle of it, but he just had some really great language, so I'm going to be using some of his work today, and I just wanted to make sure I give that to you. So, Spirit in You. If we have the one, we must have the other, as surely as the night follows the day. Not because we believe some wise person's testimony that such is the case, not even because the voice of intuition tells us that it is so, but because the whole matter is based on laws and can neither fail nor be broken. And that was written by Cady, one of the ministers and great writers of Lessons in Truth and the great Unity books that have been founded with Unity. So sometimes we have difficult times where we ask questions like, how can I believe in health and recovery when I have all of these medications? How can I believe in love when I have been alone all of these years? How can I believe I can have abundance when my bills are piling up? And you find you're having a dream for something different because you're experiencing the opposite. You're experiencing the contrast. You're experiencing the duality of life. And none of us really come into a full circle of healing until we visit sometimes the opposite to remind us of the good that we want. Unfortunately, I think some people come here and they are light and they just manifest light. As God said, you are the lights of the world, right? When we look at all these candles, let's see that reflected in all the consciousness of all the people that walk this planet. Because I overheard somebody say in the bookstore right before I walked out here, he said, because the weight of the world's starting to press down. You didn't know you were going to get quoted as you're walking through. And it's true. I think a lot of us feel that way because the weight of the world is starting to press down. Man alive, right? It's like, how do we get back to balance and peace, right? That's been the goal for me lately. We had the whole Christmas season and all the tech stuff and all the choirs and the rehearsals, and I oversaw it this year. It's the first time I had the leadership role of doing that and raising teenagers and all the things that I have in my life on top of that, plus running this church every day. And I burnt the candle completely out. I mean, it was like out. And then Christmas Day, I woke up with COVID. So that was the time to start taking a break. And I was sick as a dog for 4 days. And then right when I pulled out of it, my father fell really, really ill. And I had to take care of him day and night for days. So I haven't really quite completely recovered my own energy source because it went from this emptiness, I at least was healed enough to take care of someone else. And then you turn on the news and you find out that people have lost their homes right here outside of Boulder. And Larry, who was just playing the piano, he lost his home. We have another person I know that's sitting in here right now that lost her home, and I know of 2 others in our congregation that have lost their homes. Every other phone call that's coming here is for me to do memorial services of people that are passing at this time. I did a memorial yesterday, I have one next Wednesday, and I have one on Saturday. I have never, ever in this job had so much of the part that you didn't really think about when God gave you the calling to this work. Right? Sometimes you do a memorial, and sometimes, but you also get like 10 weddings and 10 christenings in between, like the joyful, wonderful stuff. And I don't believe it's just that the weight of the world is starting to press down. I believe that we are birthing the second coming of Christ. And the only second coming of Christ that will ever happen is us. We are breaking down into a breakthrough. And the oppression of the world, everything that we're doing, we're trying to move forward, and it just feels like obstacle, obstacle, obstacle. Who's feeling that obstacle with your forward moving? Yeah. And so am I. And I'm also feeling breakthroughs majorly too. I mean, you have both usually going at the same time. So in a society like we're in now, where we have, everybody can text us. They can even email us right on our phones. They can call us. They can messenger us through Facebook. They can Twitter. They can contact us every second of every single day. So when you have a job like mine, I used to go home at 4 o'clock and it was done till 9. Now it's all night long, all of the needs of the people of this congregation, and it's dinging. The phone dings, 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 dings. And I think many of us are feeling that sense of overwhelm. We're almost vibrating like our baseline is overwhelm and anxiety because there's so many ways to be distracted from being with self. I just saw so many people just go, right? We can all relate with that, right? So we're not being with self. And when we're being with thyself, we're being with the creator of ourselves, where it's quiet, where the answer to any question we're having is being given to us because there's silence. As they say, it's in silence that God speaks to us. But every time we sit down, if we do not turn off that cell phone and turn off the dings of everything that's trying to get our attention, we will constantly be getting pulled back into this anxiety. So how do we overcome the overwhelm? How do we overcome the overwhelm? And I think our young people at this time don't even know what it's like to live in a state of peace, because they didn't grow up with the one telephone in the house, right? I'm dating myself here, even this guy. And not only did we have the one telephone in the house that nobody could get a response to any, outing or whatever was being asked of us, there was 5 people living in that house sharing that one telephone. And I, from my truth of my being, would do anything to go back to that for a couple of months and to remember the pace of that life. Because this overwhelm is created by the world. It's created by, we have to respond like this to everyone. So we're responding not even from a conscious level. We're responding like, well, that should put that fire out pretty good. That will put that fire out pretty good, or that will answer pretty much. But are we taking the holy pause, and are we taking the time to sit with the questions of the emails that are coming in or the texts that we're getting? Are we picking up the phone and having long conversations with our siblings and our family members like we used to? Because we don't have to sign up for this. See, that's what the second coming is about. It's about taking to task our experience in this expansive, powerful, spiritual world. But many of us are just getting caught up in the physical, the intellect, and forgetting about the ethereal and the intuition and the signs and the symbols that show us how to move gently on this earth, as the natives showed us. It was a gentle walk. When you watch her dancing, there's this walk, and it's with the heartbeat of the earth, just like Rebecca was singing right there. Who am I? Who is the singer through her? Who is that? What is that drumbeat that we're feeling in our heart? Where does that come from? Who is the seer? And some of us are refining our prayerful life because it's gotten so overwhelming. And we've sat with those prayers and we've felt our hearts calm down and started to discover who we are now, what we truly want and what we desire, and are moving into that divine expression that's being called from the universe for us to be and do, for our children, for our spouses, for our work, for all of it, for the process of manifestation, whatever. So to overcome your overwhelm, which is one of the statements in that workshop I'm doing by Mike Dooley, first of all, you have to believe that there is a greater something we call God, source, spirit, that can energetically swoop in and shift a current trouble by merely bringing attention to it. The trap of not bringing a shift to a difficult situation is simply focusing on the trouble and letting it overwhelm you, maybe even consume you. Right? We're intellectually replaying over and over and over again the situation that is giving us the greatest angst, upset, nervousness, whatever, instead of going, the intellect is not fixing this. Spirit, what would you have me do? I'm asking for support. What would you have me do in this circumstance? How would you want me to deliver what I need to say about this circumstance? And don't share all those problems with anybody else, because when you share it with somebody else, it's just like praying with 3 and becoming a miracle. Complaining it to 3 also spreads that vibration of lower nature, and it lowers the consciousness of this world and of the people that live on it. In Lessons in Truth, it says it this way: from the moment we began to ask, we began to question our ability to reach God's standard of faith on which hung our fate. We also began to question whether, after all, there is any such power in faith to prevail with the giver of every perfect gift, so as to draw out of him something that he had never let us have before. Viewing faith in this light, there is not much wonder that logical minds have looked on it as a sort of will or the wisp, not a thing from which any real definite results could ever be obtained, not a thing that the business world could rest upon. There is a blind faith, to be sure. Someone has truthfully said that blind faith is better than none at all, for if held to, it will get its eyes open after a time. But there is also an understanding faith. Blind faith is an instinctive truth in a power higher than ourselves. Understanding faith is based on immutable principle. Knowing that all we have to do is lean on this greater power. We don't call the timing of the answers to be made or shown to us in a dream or whispered through our being. But in that faith, we just lean into that love. Already knowing it's coming to us. Just living from that place, even before it shifts, you will feel the peace of God as if it already happened. The actual perfect outcome has already happened because you have the faith and know that God is with you. God is divine nature. God isn't limited to the little human stuff of this world. And there's some big stuff in this world right now, too. So, how do we go deeper with the universe? First of all, we have to have faith in this greater something. God, Spirit, Source. I don't care what you call it. You can call it Joe. It's all the same thing. It's a culmination of the allness of love. It's not a judgmental God in the sky that's trying to make this a hard time, separate from ourselves. It's a divine energy that we came in with, and we're much closer to it when we were young, when we were babies. When you watch that innocence and that gorgeousness, that innocence is us. From that innocence, of that trust that everything's going to work out. You know, Esther Hicks has a great bumper sticker that says, you put it in the back of your car, so whenever you look in your rearview mirror to change lanes, it's in reverse, and you see it says, everything's always working out for me. And we carry those actually in the store, and I have them in my car, and I love it. Everything's always working out for me. Regardless of the circumstances that we're looking upon outside us, where we're like, whoa, I don't know so much. Everything is always working out for me, even if we have to fake say that. Till you look back on your life when you've been in a trial and tribulative time in your life, and you saw Spirit get you through it. We've all been through this many times. This might be one of the more, I think we're being pushed to be the greatest version of ourselves ever, so that we can leave a planet for 12 generations ahead of us, behind us, ahead of us, for us to do better, to clean up the mistakes of people from our past and our ancestors. We're being called to do a great work. So the denseness that we're pushing through is that much more dense, because can you imagine if it's this dense, the light that is being called of each and every one of you. Not one of you is more special than the other. You're all divine sons and daughters of this greater power, this greater love. So going deeper with the universe. So this last week has been, I was sharing, a little bit overwhelming, to say the least. I had my moments where I was waiting for the next shoe to drop. It just felt like it's been one thing after another. In the midst of getting COVID, and then now taking care of my father, my eldest daughter was leaving for Paris to go to the Cordon Bleu school, and I was unable to even hug my daughter goodbye. I mean, there's these moments that you think you have as a mom. And I had to look at her across the parking lot as she left, as we prepared for this massive moment. I promised I wasn't going to cry today, you guys. I'm just such an emotional person, and I've accepted that about myself, because I know thyself. And to know thyself is to know God. So that's all happening. My father's staying in my house with all these healing machines and things helping him, so all these noises going on. I don't have a huge house. Teenagers still need to be fed and have activities because they're on Christmas break and trying to make it like everything's okay while everything is looking like it's all falling apart. One night I went into my bedroom and I sat on my bed feeling so empty, so filled with every emotion no one wants to face, like anxiety and fear, disconnect, lost. While I was sitting there, I was overcome with a feeling of a presence of love whispering in my heart, and it was so palpable. It was a moment of grace. It was a moment of reprieve. As I examined my own relationship with God, asking for strength to persevere with softness in my heart as I was being tasked with 10 people's worth of responsibilities. I closed my eyes and I put soft music on as I basked in this holy experience. I felt this love. It was like being held by God in a way. The last time I felt that was when I lost my son, Luca. That grace that comes when you are in the dark night of the soul, as they say. And I started to recite the Lord's Prayer. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. And the presence of God watches over me. And wherever I am, God is. And I started to feel tired finally, because I had been running on adrenaline. It was the fight or flight. My dad, who is my everything, working in ministry with him for all these years. And fear was coming over me. And that prayer was putting rest in my heart as I kept reciting it. And I fell asleep for 2 hours because I had to go do these medicines every 2 hours. And at this point, it was so overwhelming, my mom couldn't keep up with it. We had to be very careful that nothing crossed stuff. And when I woke up after 2 hours for the next moment of medicine, I woke up and I felt like I had slept for a week. The universe heard my call. I needed support. And I felt whatever the angels did while I was in that sleep state, I woke up and I had a new life force to now step into that which was being called for me. In Lessons in Truth, page 76, it says, the mental and spiritual world or realms are governed by laws that are just as real and unfeeling as the law that governs the natural world. Certain conditions in mind are so connected with certain results that the two are inseparable, spirit and you. If we have the one, we must have the other as surely as the night follows the day, not because we believe some wise person's testimony that such is the case, not even because the voice of intuition tells us that it is so, but because the whole matter is based on laws that can neither fail nor be broken. There is no separation between you and spirit. But we certainly can act like there's a separation from us and spirit, and can feel like we're walking alone through the difficulties of life. And it's just the mere shift of remembering your direct and divine inheritance as a child of God, as a perfect child of God. That's all we have to remember. Oh, I am a perfect divine child of God. So nothing can hurt me, make me sick, or take my money away, or all the things that we face. I'm a divine child of God. So Spirit, help me. Help me. And when we're asking God for help, we're not changing God. We're not opening some door to something. What we're doing is we're opening ourselves up to that which is already there. Help me puts us in alignment of a prayer from God through us. We already have divine favor. It doesn't change anything. What it changes is our own intellect moving into the heart. Oh, yes. Yes, there is a presence, a silence, a stillness which is here by itself. There's no doer of it, no creator of the stillness. It is simply here in you, with you. It is the fragrance of your own self. There's nothing to do about this. It is naturally present. This fragrance of peace, this spaciousness, it is the fragrance of your own being. And that was written by Muji. So when I was having this moment where I slept for 2 hours, which felt like a week, in the arms literally of the angels, is what it felt like. It was like in this moment, I put the oxygen mask on myself in the airplane first. I had been doing it backwards the whole time. I've been answering the call of all the needs of myself, but I wasn't putting the oxygen mask of spirits before I went into doing the unbelievable as a physical person. Because we can only do what God can do through us. I was trying to do what Syntysche could only do through her. I needed God to do it through me. So I put that oxygen mask on. I basked in this union first before I could administrate more of this healing love towards my caregiving with my father. So the next time I came to administer medicine for my father in the middle of the night, he's not having this regimen anymore. He's doing so much better because your prayers are working. I did so, but this time I looked in my dad's eyes and I said, Dad, you know that the light of God surrounds you. My dad looked right into my soul. He said, God has always surrounded me. You know the love of God enfolds you. And this time he just nodded his head yes, with a look of gratitude for all of it, the power of God protecting him. And the presence of God watches over you. And now his eyes are closed, and I could see he was internalizing this prayer that has supported our entire family our whole life. And wherever you are, Dad, God is. And he said, I know. And I know he's been laying in that prayerful place. But I wanted to share a prayer with him, with us. You know, in Matthew 9:22, it says, by thy faith hath made thee whole. Asking springs from desire to possess something good. What is desire? Desire in the heart is always God tapping at the door of your consciousness with his or her infinite supply. A supply that is forever useless unless there is a request for it. A supply that is forever useless unless you ask for it. So, sometimes some of us don't love ourselves enough to ask for it. You know, there's a whole idea of, in Christianity, and I had, family members that were more leaning towards Christianity, and humility was the big thing. Humility was just give, and don't ever receive almost. It was like there was a backwards thing that was like you just give until you're just empty, and then somehow you'll go to heaven someday. And they all were with broken hips and issues and stuff way too early in their lives because they're giving from an empty vessel. Humility is a state of consciousness, which is I take care of my brethren and my sisters as I take care of myself, though. Because if I don't take care of this vessel, that is Spirit's vessel, then it will physically break down and it won't make it here much longer to give that which God has called us to be and do in this world. And it doesn't have to be a big calling like be a minister or be a president or be, in leadership positions. You can be a cash register person and be changing lives, each person you're contacting, by simply seeing each other. Seeing each other as equal. Seeing each other that you see somebody's energy is down and you ask them how they're doing. And you really say it like you care. It's that mirroring of bringing that Christ consciousness to each and every person we come in contact with. Before they call, I will answer in Isaiah 65:24. Before you are ever conscious of lack, of any desire for more happiness or for fullness of joy, the great Father, Mother heart has desired them for you. It is He in you desiring them that you feel and think it is only yourself, separate from her desiring them. With God, the desire to give and giving are one and the same thing. So, in this manifestation thing I've been doing for 21 days, he talked about a book, Mike Dooley, and he talked about a book called The Angels in My Hair. And it was written by Lorna Byrne, who is an intuitive psychic that speaks about how we, all of us, before we enter into the physical experience, are given an actual guardian angel that's perfectly ready to protect us through our entire life. And what was neat about what he said is, when we think about angels, we think about Christianity, we think of the Bible and all these things, but I believe in spirit guides, and he explains the difference between spirit guides, and spirit guides have lived on the earth before, angels have not. And the guardian angel, they've never lived on earth because they're too timid to face the school of what living the human experience is. So they're so awestruck by us that we're brave enough to come into this experience where we have been broken and we have been loved and we've had passion and we've had hell, we've had all of it. All the frequencies of life we've experienced because we chose to come and grow our soul, to do a great work, to find the depths of love for ourselves and other. And the guardian angel looks up to us because we're closer to God than them. Isn't that an interesting idea? Have you ever thought about it that way? Because we are actually closer, because we're willing to come in and do this thing called life. And life is a school. It is a soul teacher, right? So when the guardian angel sees that you're in turmoil and you're having repeated issues and there's more stuff, they get very concerned if there's not a smile on our face. And their work is to get that smile back on your face. So they're behind the scenes trying to fix the conflicts and the work issues and the whatever else, and so that it relieves the denseness of life so that we may regain our smile. And I loved that. Something about that gave me such comfort that I wasn't just sent here alone to just discover my relationship with God and it's all on me, it's all on me. It's like, oh, I have a guardian angel. Our children have guardian angels. And I always was raised with that, like when your children are teenagers and they're driving, it's very nerve-wracking. Oh, but he's got his angel, or she's got her angel. And then there's many angels that we come with, and there's like conflict-fixing angels, and there's healing angels, and so we can just put them to work. We have like this army of supporters, all for Syntysche. All for you, all for you. Just think of all the angels that are sitting in this room if we have this whole team. Anything to keep us from feeling like we're alone, working on all of this change, all of this duality, all of this stuff that's keeping us separate and apart, that we can put this burden on something else. Please help me with this conflict with my child. Help me with this person, or help me with my fatigue that I'm experiencing from COVID. Help my lungs feel wide open. Doesn't it make you feel better to have an army of people trying to help you have peace and happiness? Yeah. So we have to use all of our angels. Your supply is the universe. When you fully learn to understand the truth of who you are, the eyes and the ears of who you are, when you get where you are and you have this sense and grasp of the truth that where you are is because of who you think you are. You are where you are because of who you think you are. So this puts it into the consciousness. How do you feel about how you're doing at work? How do you feel you're doing as a parent? How do you feel like you're doing as far as participating in life? How do you feel like about your service here at Unity? How do you feel about how you're showing up? And if you don't feel so great about it, then the law of attraction is showing you more of the things that aren't so great in your life. When we can see in our mind's eye the result or the resolve of the difficult thing, then we start being it. being the person that walks with the life already healed. And that's a frequency. That's a higher frequency. And then we attract other people from that higher frequency. And then we are that angel army on earth, spreading this light, because we are the lights of the world for the change we want to see. Let us go into meditation now. And this piece that I'm going to be reading, I did not write. It's another reading of Muji. I actually just discovered this teacher because of the memorial I did yesterday. And they asked me to go find some quotes to add to my sermon, and I just got stuck on this page of his sayings, and I was like, how did I miss out on this incredible being? So I'm going to share this. And it's typed out on a 12-point, so bear with me to be able to read this thing. All right, we'll start some music, and let's just get into the presence. Get our feet flat on the floor. It's really important to anchor to that Mother Earth and just call in Mother Earth through the feet and Father Sky through the third eye, and just seeing light moving in and through all of our organs, our mouth, our mind, our heart. Just allowing these words just to sink into your being. I come to call you home. Those who resonate with my words and follow them internally will find that place and know its completeness in joy and fullness. I have come to call you away from suffering, from fear, and from a life of sorrow, and into your own divine being. I did not come here to give you decorative stories to excite your imagination or sign you up for some long program, but to show you how available I am, and to remind you that you are never separate from me. No person on this planet is apart from the truth in the heart, and yet the world is so vast and varied in expression. In this forest of duality and complexity, you must find your way home. You must win yourself back. Wisdom and trust will be your compass. Many voices came to call us, but we are here today because we are freshly called by the voice of God, love, truth. Do not come halfway home, but fully home. I know the voice that called you is true and truth, and that where you are being called to is also real. It is inside your own heart. It is what gives me the strength to be here. I love to see the beings being set free from the hypnosis of conditioning, from fears, false projection, and the grip of the ego. And I know that to be liberated is not difficult. It requires only openness and the sincere desire to be free. I don't need to hear anything about your past. Your stories are of no interest to me. That is not how I know you. I know you only through your heart. That is my true connection with you. The living power of God in expression. It is that which I respond to in you. And it is only this that I know. I can only keep reminding you of its point, you and again to the obvious in yourself. Now you must respond to my pointing. This will complete this yoga of seeing. Find and be one with that which is imperishable. Be merged in the absolute. And don't go to sleep. Wake up. Much love. Muji. And to this we say amen again. We will take an offering for unity now. Thank you. So we have many ways to tithe to unity. And if you have a cash donation or a check, you can put it in the baskets that will go around. But for those of you joining in live stream, we appreciate you joining us, and we hope that you'll stay with us. And if this talk inspired you and brought any presence to you, please support this place and understand that it is by the dedication and the tithes of all of you faithful students of Unity that keep this incredible center open, and we are so very grateful. So let's take our offerings in our hands and bless it with this offering statement. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And now we have the chance to listen to the beautiful voice of Rebecca Abraxas.
Nothing is like you, an expression of divine, a unique design, waking up in gratitude, 'cause there will never be another like you, and there will never be another like you. Your body and your mind are one of a kind of light, shimmy and shines. It dances its way through every day if you let it, shimmy and shine. Shimmy, shimmy and shine. Find your place that illuminates your beautiful face. Alive inside, you radiate the vibration of love and light through flesh and blood. The vibration of light and love through flesh and blood. Your body and your mind are one of a kind of light, shimmy and shine. It dances its way through every day if you let it, shimmy and shine. Shimmy, shimmy and shine. You have a mission to shine. Hear the light within. Forgetting is your only sin. Your body and your mind are one of a kind of light, shimmy and shine. It dances its way through every day if you let it, shimmy and shine. Shimmy, shimmy and shine. Can we shimmy a little bit? Your body and your
Want to join me for I Release? Cool. We have her mic on for I Release. So we're going to close the service with our closing song, I Release and I Let Go. Oh, those words are so powerful. Let's do it. Let's release and let go. And thank you for all your prayers. Jack's going to be great. And just keep them coming. And we're stoked about that. So here we go. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my and my heart is open wide.
Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Release and I let go. I let my spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggles, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go.
There you are.
My spirit run my life.
Nice voices. We could have a choir right here.
Open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God.
No more
Struggles, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Woo!
beautiful singing. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next week.